short statement I'm required to read during these times of COVID. This is William Prensky, Chair of the West Hartford Board of Assessors. I'd like to welcome you to the virtual meeting today, which is Thursday, April 8, 2021 of the board. Because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this hearing is being conducted virtually in accordance with Governor Lamont's public health emergency and civil preparedness orders. Board members and some town staff are participating by WebEx. The public can watch this meeting on Comcast Channel 5, Frontier TV Channel 6098, or on www.whctv.org. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. All muted. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you. If you are participating via audio only, or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 78, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that votes be taken by roll. I will now call the roll. Teresa Szymanski.
Present.
Say your name first.
Right. Teresa Szymanski, present.
Thank you. Matthew LeBlanc.
Matthew LeBlanc, present.
LeBlanc, I'm sorry.
Either way works.
Shelley Roseanne.
Shelley Roseanne, present.
Roseanne, I'm going to get these right. And William Prensky is present. And for the Assessment Department, the Executive Director, Mr. Dakers, you are here, is that correct?
Yes, Joseph Dakers is here, present.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Today's agenda, the first item is approving the minutes of the March 8th meeting. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes? Okay. Just shake your head. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Teresa Szymanski. I will make a motion to approve the March 8th, 2021 minutes.
And is there a second?
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes by Teresa Szymanski, and Shelley Roseanne has seconded the motion. And take the roll call now. Start with Matthew Blank. I should go alphabetically.
Again, I'm new to this. Just approve.
All you have to say is aye or yes. This is the motion to approve the minutes.
Yes.
Matthew LeBlanc says yes. Terry?
This is Teresa Szymanski votes in favor.
And Shelley?
Shelley Roseanne, yes.
And Bill Prensky, yes. The minutes are passed and approved from the last meeting. Okay. The first business item, other than the minutes on the agenda, is the request for tax-exempt status for the Whiting Lane Extended Daycare for their personal property. And they're located at 759 Farmington Avenue, West Hartford. Joe, I'd like to call on you first to give us a little overview of this.
Yes, this is the Whiting Lane Extended Daycare, and they've actually been there, to my surprise, since 1977. This office did not have any record of them at that address. The property is owned by a holding company for the West Hartford Housing Authority. I think they call themselves Alfred E. Plant LLC. And in any event, as a result of an inspection, the facility was discovered. And of course, then we followed through with some disclosure. Um, in essence, they had a de facto exemption because they had no formal documents in our office that allowed them to be exempt from local property taxes. With that, however, they have submitted an application. They are seeking shelter under Connecticut General Statute 12-81 subsection 7, which is a charitable organization. They have provided us with their United States Department of Treasury 501c3 certification. This request is only for business personal property. You received a copy of their 990, their declaration of personal property to the town of West Hartford, um, uh, which will result in an assessment. And they have some other documents that they have also submitted. Connecticut sales tax exemption certificate, um, and their certificate of incorporation along with their bylaws.
Unmute.
Sorry.
That's okay. Just a point of clarification, Joe. You said 1281 -7, which is, and then you said charitable, but I think it's the educational piece, not the charitable piece that they want, right?
Uh,
That's what, this is Bill Prensky. I agree with Terry, but I'm assuming it must be that it's educational.
They had that in their document somewhere, that it's educational. That piece of that, I mean, it's all in the same section of the statutes: educational, historical, charitable, all that. But I think they selected educational. So
okay.
I'd like to throw this out for discussion because I'm reading their certificate of incorporation, which is in the documents that we were given. And it says, they have filled in the section that says the nature of the activities to be conducted or the purposes to be promoted or carried out by the corporation are as follows. To establish and maintain a center for the care and supervision of school-aged children. This is the part that's I'm concerned with. During hours when school is not in session. So
it's a daycare.
Is it an educational? The question is daycare educational? So if it is, I think we need to know what they do that's educational. Because this is for when children are not in school. I'm just throwing that out for discussion. Anybody?
This is Matt. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. If it's after school, then I mean, there is after school education, I'm assuming. But I guess, like, to your point, we'd have to see proof of that.
Joe, is there any position that the department is taking on this?
This certainly is dissimilar to some other organizations that we see from time to time in terms of the documentation and background that they give us on their organization. A week before our meeting today, I had to work with the executive director because they had not provided us with their certification from the Department of Treasury. And she didn't really know what I was asking for. She thought I was asking for the sales tax certificate. I told her that's not the case. In their cover letter, they had indicated that they were a 501c3 organization. So I wanted the documentation to back that. I certainly can reach out to them again to provide a little bit more detail behind this. If you look at their 990, I'm not sure how they're surviving over there. They seem to be operating in a deficit for a number of years. And most of the money seems to come from their clients who use their services. I see very little money from grants and that kind of thing. But I certainly can reach out to them if you feel the need for that additional information.
Well, they may conduct educational activities while the children are in the daycare, and I think that would help support their application. I thought I read somewhere, I'm trying to find it, but I can't see it, that do they go on field trips or something? I'm not sure. But
Joe Bakersville, in their cover letter, they indicated that they provide before and after school care for children of Whiting Lane Elementary School. They also provide vacation day program for families when school is closed, as well as summer camp. Our space only, this is what the letter says, I'm just verbatim. Our space is only used for these programs. I change it a little bit. So there's not much else in terms of program details.
Right.
Would you like me to reach out to them for additional information on the on details of the programs that they operate at the facility?
the Bill Prensky, yes, I think we should do that, and maybe they can list I don't know, I think they should list the educational activities that they engage in if they are seeking it as an educational exemption.
Yeah.
If they're seeking it for some other reason, they can explain that as well. Perhaps we should table this with that direction that we
One
get.
question for Joe.
Yes.
Joe, are daycares generally considered educational, or, what category do they fall into? So, for example, when I file my annual report for my entity, I'm professional services as an attorney. What category do they fall into? For example, on their filings.
Now, let me see what their personal property declaration. Sometimes they indicate a SIC code, which is a federal code for. I would have to look, but they did indicate a IRS business activity code, which is 624410. 624410. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I would have to query that to see what that entails. That would be the type of information that I can get back to you on.
Okay, and I believe I was referring to the SIC code because I just had to file my annual report yesterday, and I was like, professional services, and other, and things like that.
Yes. So that's all I have. The documents are scanned. There's not a lot of detail in here. There's just some basic documentation.
Do we need a motion to table this?
Could I want to bring, I'm sorry, Bill, this is Teresa Samansky speaking. I wanted to, a little aside, bring up a point of order, I guess, or, whatever. We need to think about what we mean by tabling. I wanted to mention in the last meeting, for example, we addressed the Aurora, I forget what they are. I think they didn't fill out their application completely or something. We had an issue about that. And so we tabled it until the next meeting. We tabled it, but it's not on the agenda. So we have to be clearer about what we're doing. If that's not on the agenda, we have to kind of know, did we mean to table it? Did we mean to postpone it indefinitely? I don't know, but it's not on the agenda. And so if we're going to table this one, or postpone it, maybe we postpone it until Joe has the information instead of saying until next meeting. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Everyone?
that's a good, Bill Prensky, yes, that's a good point, Terry.
Yeah.
Since you brought
So,
that up.
yeah, whatever we mean, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill.
No, for Joe, was there an issue why the Aurora Foundation was not on today's agenda?
Yeah. Yes, we're still waiting for the supplemental information that was requested from our last meeting, which is why they're not on today's agenda.
So we just need to be more careful about what we mean.
Yes.
So we should, yeah.
I agree.
So for that one, even after we finish this one, we need to go back to that one and say, whatever we mean, it's postponed again until Joe tells us. And for this one, we probably mean the same thing, like postpone it until Joe has the complete information.
The chair will entertain a motion on the Whiting Lane Extended Daycare. Oh, Joe, yes, you're recognized. Yes.
Yes, I have a question, an observation. I just Googled the IRS activity code, and it's primarily for daycare. The activity code comprises establishments primarily engaged in daycare of infants and children. That's in response to Shelley's question about what industry they're in.
Right. Joe, this is Terry speaking. Do you recall any other, this is sort of following up from Shelley, but do we have any other daycares that have requested tax exemption for either their real property, their personal property based on an educational exemption?
No, we have quite a few of them in town, but believe it or not, they're all taxable. A lot of them are housed within churches that are private operators for profit. And so in cases like that, we actually are taxing the daycare and an allocated portion of the real estate for the space that the daycare provides. So this is the first one in my tenure here and that's almost 20 years, that I have seen where daycare has asked for an exemption of this type.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it myself, but so do we?
The chair's
need
asked
information or
motion to table to a date certain or for a certain period of time or whatever.
indefinitely, or until Joe has the information. I don't know.
I would say I don't definitely, because there should be some certainty of when we're going to take it up again. Indefinitely. Well, that's up to the board. Yes, Joe.
If I may, this one doesn't seem to be that challenging. I think they're eager to get behind this. I think I'll get beyond this. I'm sure that I can get additional information for the May meeting of the Board of Assessors. I have no reservation about that. Having spoken to this organization once already, I think they're just I think there's, handling of paperwork and changing of management has been an internal challenge for them. But they do have a team there that wants to make sure they're in compliance with whatever they have to do. So I'm sure that I can get some additional information for you for the May meeting of the Board of Assessors.
Bill Prensky, okay, having heard that, Terry, would you like to amend your motion? Well, you don't have to amend it and second it. You can make a new motion.
I don't think I made one yet, Joe. I mean, Bill, actually,
I think
on this.
you did.
The only one
Go
I've
ahead.
made so far is for the minutes, but I'm going to go ahead. This is Teresa Szymanski speaking, and I would like to propose a motion to, with respect to the request for tax exempt status for personal property by Whiting Lane Extended Daycare, that we postpone that vote until the May meeting of this board.
Is there a second?
Shelley Roseanne, seconds.
Shelley, so there's a motion by Teresa to postpone the request for tax exempt status of the Whiting Lane Extended Daycare until the May meeting of this board, and it was seconded by Shelley Roseanne. Matt LeBlanc. Your
Matt
vote?
LeBlanc, yes, I agree.
Terry Szymanski,
Favor.
Shelley Rosen,
Shelley Roseanne, aye.
Bill Prensky, aye. The motion is carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Assessment Department Staffing Review. I'm going to let Joe take over that.
Okay, at our last meeting, Joe Dakers, at our last meeting, I brought this matter before the Board of Assessors, and at the end of that meeting, indicated that I would provide you with a little bit more background than what was given to you early on in the process. I have subsequently, I believe, provided you with the job description as formulated by the Department of Human Resources in collaboration with the Department of Assessment. I have the authorization from Town Manager Matt Hart, but there is an item within, I determined it actually is of the Town Ordinance, Chapter 8, Section 2. It was incorrectly cited by the former Assistant Human Resources Director as Chapter 8, Section 8. So you should have that before you this morning. All of the documents sent evidence the auditing of business personal property accounts that Sylvia has conducted on behalf of the town. Sylvia is a part-time employee, and Sylvia's been with this office now, I think, since 2016. She came in to support us with the last revaluation. She has a strong educational background. Sylvia has a bachelor's in economics, and we really just tapped into that, and she has added tremendous value to the town of West Hartford. So in the documents that you got this morning, you really only have to look at the document that's labeled personal property audits and reviews. There's 5 columns there, at least 5 that are labeled 1 through 5. And you can see the performance of the audits for the various years. Some of the audits were formal audits, meaning that we sent out a certified letter referencing the Connecticut General Statute that gives us the authority to conduct these type of audits. The last three items, 3, 4, and 5, were audits that were done in-house by the same person. They were not formal audits. We essentially looked at the documents that were provided to us in some cases by leasing companies where leases expired and the local business took title to the property but never reported it to the town, that kind of thing. Or in some cases where the local business is reporting leased equipment and the leasing. So over the years thus far, through Sylvia's efforts, we have recaptured about $7.3 million in assessment value that translate into approximately $300,000 in escape property taxes. This is an area that is sorely needed by the town of West Hartford. I have two administrative clerks here that handle the intake and the data entry of these documents, but there's no analysis. Personal property declarations are self-reporting. In other words, the business tells us what they have, and based upon what they file, we calculate their assessments. But by provision through the Connecticut statutes, we have the ability to audit that information that they provide us with. The document that I sent you this morning that pertains to Chapter 8, Section 2 of the West Hartford Code really highlights something that we had talked about the last time about the board's role in this process. And basically, it is a recommendation from the board to go ahead with this process. I believe Town Manager Matt Hart according to the ordinance, Matt Hart will actually be presenting the recommendation to the Town Council for their approval, amending the classification service for the Town of West Hartford. I'll entertain any questions that you might have at this point.
Bill Prensky, do we know when it's going before the town council?
It will be after the budget process. I will tell you that the town manager has included this position in my budget already. So the process that we're going through now is really perfunctory. He's on board. If he wasn't on board, he would not have included it in my this fiscal year budget, 21-22. I would like to see it happen sooner than later because, quite frankly, we're down one appraiser in this office, and that position has been frozen until next year's fiscal budget. That's 2023. So we're in the midst of a revaluation, three-legged stool at this point in time, so we can use her help. Sylvia just works 20 hours a week, and she's always on the grind, and she would be a great asset for the town of West Hartford.
Bill Prensky, I guess my next question is, what is the next step? Does this board have to approve the job description? I thought that up last meeting.
Yeah, that's done by the council. That's done by the council. I tell you what I'm merely looking for is your endorsement of this activity. And it's just a formal endorsement, and all of the administrative stuff will be taken care of by town staff, i.e. the town manager. And of course, ultimately the town council will move on the request from the town manager. But you are mentioned in Chapter 8, Section 2 of the town ordinance.
So are you asking us, Joe, to endorsed today? Or is this kind of, do you want to put this on for some other meeting?
No, I would like an endorsement today. If you feel that you have sufficient information, I've given you everything that I've had to attest to the process of the involvement with the town manager, the human resources department, and myself, along with the type of work that is undertaken in this position. This is only one facet of the work that takes place. This position actually does more, but the primary purpose for bringing this person in-house would be so that we can have an ongoing audit program, and we won't have to pay an outside auditor. And I think it was in 2014, the former town manager, Ron Van Winkle, allocated a $50,000 budget for this department to conduct some audits. And so we hired a auditing company, and I believe we did probably about, I think it was around 75 audits. And we actually saw a return on investment that was about 200% of what what we actually spent. We actually only spent 25,000. I never even spent the whole $50,000. But the point was made that this is something that has to be ongoing. Many assessors' offices throughout Connecticut have supporting staff that can do this kind of stuff in-house. A lot of them for Hartford years ago when I was in the Hartford Assessors office. But I can't do that stuff anymore. I have a lot of other things going on.
So you want a formal endorsement from this board?
Yes.
Meaning you want us to vote on it. Could you say very succinctly exactly what you want us to endorse so we can?
The creation of the new classification of assessment analysts for the Department of Assessment.
With say that again, with the classification of assessment analyst?
Yes, assessment analyst position.
If I may interject, Bill Prensky,
And then you said with the Department
of Assessment, which is this office.
Bill Prensky, the chapter C of the charter, chapter C charter, so it says, chapter 8, Merit System and Classification Service, section 2, the classified service. There is, I think the provision we are looking at is about 2/3 of the way down. It says, quote, with respect to their individual departments or boards, the library board, the board of assessors, town clerk, and the corporation council may recommend to the council amendments to the classification plan of the town and the creation of new or additional positions in the classified service and the changing of duties and responsibilities of existing positions. So it seems like this board under the charter can recommend to the council the creation of a new position, which is, what's the title of this position?
Assessment analyst.
Assessment analyst. So I think, Terry, if we look at the language for everybody of that charter, that's what we are being asked to do, to recommend the creation of the position of assessment analyst in the department in the assessment department.
Correct.
Do I hear a Terry?
Yes, okay. Let's try this. I know. I just like seeing my name in the minutes. Okay, so this is Terry Szymanski speaking, and I would like to propose a motion that this Board of Assessors recommends to the town council the creation of a new position of assessment analyst within the town of West Hartford Assessment Office. How's that?
Is there a second? It was good.
Thank you.
Shelley
Matt
Roseanne,
LeBlanc,
second. That was good.
Okay, now we will take our vote. Matt LeBlanc. How do you vote?
Matt LeBlanc, aye.
Terry?
In favor. Terry
Shelley?
Szymanski, in favor.
Shelley?
Shelley Roseanne, aye. Shelley Roseanne, aye.
Bill Prensky, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Yay.
Okay. Seeing no further items on the agenda,
Could we just go back, and I know I'm a kind of a, anyway, whatever. Could we just go back and clarify what we're doing about Aurora? Is it postponed indefinitely, or is it postponed until Joe gets the information? Because we did say we would put it on the agenda for this meeting, and it's not there, so.
I will make it a focus point to have that on the May agenda as well. You know, so to be honest with you, oftentimes I'll make a call to an entity and I wait to hear back from them. I don't spend a lot of time on it. I'll send an email and I'll wait for their feedback. And sometimes it's not as soon as we would like it, but I will let them know that failure to provide this information will result in their property remaining taxable. And hopefully that would be helpful to them to get the additional information to us.
Yeah, and my addressing this is really more about what we do as a board to make sure we're doing it right than what you're doing everything you can, but we need to make sure that we know what we're talking about. So I'm going to make another motion that the Aurora, the Aurora request for personal property, which was addressed at the March meeting, be postponed until Joe has the requested information from the entity.
anybody want a second motion?
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay, so the motion is to postpone the request for tax exempt status of personal property by the Aurora Foundation, which was on the March agenda.
Yep.
It was on the March agenda, and now we're going to the motion is to postpone it until the director has further information from Aurora. And a motion was seconded by Shelley Roseanne. Take a vote now. Matt LeBlanc,
Matt LeBlanc, in favor.
Terry Szymanski,
Terry Szymanski, in favor.
Shelley Roseanne,
Shelley Roseanne, aye.
and Bill Prensky, aye. The motion is carried unanimously. Okay. Seeing no further items on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn? Yes, Terry.
Why don't I go ahead with that? This is Terry Szymanski. I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second, Shelley. I see your mic is on.
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay. And we'll take a vote. How about that? Matt LeBlanc,
Matt LeBlanc, in favor.
Terry Szymanski,
Terry Szymanski, in favor.
Shelley Roseanne,
Shelley Roseanne, aye.
Bill Prensky, aye. The meeting is adjourned at 8:39. I want to thank everybody for participating. We're just seeing everyone in May.
Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, guys.